I heard tidbits of your change in life. Can we get into detail about that?
Yeah. So, anyways, about 2 Thanksgivings ago.
I want to hear your recollection of it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, and then I'll explain to you.
Right. So.
How this is because Chad was there and he experienced this metamorphosis, and how my energy is transmuted throughout the past.
Yeah. So
2-3
DMT.
years.
We talk about drugs a lot on this show, but DMT is some legit shit. My buddy Mark had some DMT.
How do you get that?
Dude, come on. You want his address? Just kidding.
No, I'm
so,
not saying.
DMT, right? So we were drinking on Thanksgiving, and one time I did DMT, and I had been drinking with my friend, and we drank, and then he goes, "Hey, let's do some DMT." I had some at the house. I go, "All right, let's go." We went back and did it, and when I did it, I was like in this like area where these big beings were looking down at me and going, "Hey, you think this is a fucking game? You think this is here for you to play with, to bring your friends to get all drunk and fuck around? That's not what this is for." No joke, dude. On everything I've ever loved. I came out of that and I said, I'll never fucking do DMT and drink again. So on this cut to this Thanksgiving, and Vince is like, I want to do some DMT. I want to work through some shit. And everybody knows like I've done ayahuasca, a bunch of times. And so I kind of I know the lay of the land, so to speak, or at least a deep understanding and respect for the other realms that you might enter when you fuck around with this shit. Okay, so. Vince goes, I want to, do DMT, and me and my buddy Mark are like, all right, cool. So we go upstairs. He had a big house then. We go upstairs, and I say, hey, Mark, we shouldn't because we've been drinking. So Vince went in by himself, and he smoked it and laid down, and I told him a few things. There's some few little key words you need to know when you go in that area. And one is that anything you come across that might be scary to you, you got to say, hey, if this does not serve my greater good, it must go. If you do not serve my greater good, you must go. That's some real shit. That's some real shit they've said for ages, since ancient times, that things that come your way, even in real life, if you do not serve my greater good, you must go. Think about decision-making, that same shit.
Right.
And so the other thing was, show me what I need to see to be all that I can be. That was my mantra when I was always in ayahuasca. Show me what I need to see. Not that I need to know everything in the universe. Wouldn't mind, but my mind probably couldn't even come close to handling it. So just show me what I need to see so that I could be all that I could be in this life, in this existence. And so Vince jumped in, and within a few minutes, he started freaking out to where it was like in a Joe Pesci mob movie. I thought for sure at any minute the cops were going to show up. He started screaming bloody murder. Like, get away from me, get it off me. Like it was like something was like attached to him that he wanted gone.
Do you remember this? Yeah, you remember everything that happened?
And my buddy Mark, to this day, he said, that's the scariest night of my life. We talked about it a few weeks ago, and he goes, yeah, it's the scariest night of my life. And Mark was like, like going, hey, Mark, it's okay, Vince, be calm, Vince, be calm. And he started working his way up near his mouth. That he was going to smother Vince because it was so loud. It's like, dude, cops are going to be here any minute. It's not like we were murdering the guy upstairs. And Mark's wife and somebody else was downstairs in the kitchen. And when it was all said and done, we went back downstairs. And she said she felt something come downstairs. Something was in the downstairs area, and it was after we were done. And so she didn't know what's going on up there. She's like, I'm not going upstairs. Something's going down. And so when Vince came out, it was there was a total detachment period. It was cool with Mark. Mark was obviously like really rattled by this whole thing, because dude, it was supernatural. And for me, I have been around this stuff. I've seen this kind of stuff. I saw something like this similar happen in the jungle. And so I thought, okay, cool. I kept cool. But when he was coming out of it, there was a separation. It was a beautiful thing, actually. It was like a flower blossoming. It was cool. Coming out of a butterfly coming out of a cocoon. And he
I'm getting chills.
Yeah. And he came out, but this thing was still kind of there. And it kept telling Mark, hey, tell him to leave. Make him leave. And I wasn't making eye contact with you. I wouldn't look at you because I was like, for whatever reason, I felt like I'm not supposed to do that. It was something else took over me and him. It was crazy. And I'm like, don't look at him. And it kept saying, make him leave. He doesn't serve my greater good. He doesn't serve me. That's what he said. He doesn't serve me. Right? And of course I don't serve him. That's not what I said. That's what I told him to say, remember? You do not serve my greater good, you must go. This thing came out saying, he does not serve me, Mark. Make him leave. Make him leave. Yeah. Crazy, dude. And then slowly that wore off, and he came back down, and he goes, I got to go make things right with my family. I got to go talk to some people. And he was like on a mission, dude. I've never seen. You remember you used to wind up the little cars, wind them up, and then, you know what I mean, take off? That's what this man did. And since this day, he was at a down place in his life at that point. He was like, which is beautiful. That's just to let y'all know. When you're hitting really low, just know you're about to take off. It's all going to work out. Just hang in there. Hang in there. I swear to God, it'll all work out. Just have faith.
That was a time period I was actually homeless, sleeping in my car.
Yeah.
I remember I was going through a deep depression, coming out of a really toxic relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I lost everything, and nobody knew that I was homeless. I didn't tell my family or anybody. I was really in a dark, depressive, suicidal state.
Yeah.
You know, and man, the way you described it
Yeah.
from that end was it blows my mind, because the way I was experiencing it was once I hit that DMT portal, man, my consciousness, the first time my consciousness has actually left my body. You know, because before, I've always been a spiritual kid. You know, I've always searched for, you know, but out of like curiosity though. I studied different religions, different books, but it was it's all been textbook to me, you know. But it was the first time, it was my first real spiritual experience where my consciousness actually went through a tunnel, went through this realm where it took off. You know, this is the whole experience. When I took that DMT hit, I went through some sort of portal.
Wormholes.
A wormhole,
I remember those,
like,
yeah.
It was like a wormhole.
I've been through those.
And I didn't understand what was going on. Just different geometric shapes going through this portal. I was still conscious, but I didn't have my body. And I was like, oh, snap, did I just kill myself? I kept thinking that.
Wow.
Oh, man, I killed myself because I can't feel my body, but my consciousness is still here. So as I was going through this portal, it broke through, and it's nothing but dark clouds. Dark clouds and shadows of all my negative emotions that I carried throughout my life.
Wow.
From childhood, from fear, anxiety, depression, shame, guilt, anger. Every negative emotion that I held on to, it was tormenting me. And it kept repeating itself. I had no concept of time or space. I was stuck in this realm where it was just tormenting me. And all I could do was scream, cry, and I wanted it to stop. So I saw a distant light, and I felt like it was like ancestors or relatives that just trying to reach out to me, but I couldn't. So I tried to reach out to them, and I said, look, I'm sorry. I don't know what I've done. You know what I'm saying? I don't want this anymore. And I reached out to them. It just kept repeating itself like a record. You know,
Groundhog Day.
It didn't have. How long was I gone for?
It was less than 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes.
But it seemed like an hour, dude, because it was like, holy shit.
It felt like,
since
I had no concept of time, it just felt like infinity.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I stuck here? I just created this reality for myself. And when I finally snapped out of it, I came out of it, I was able to open my eyes. I was still in the spirit type of realm.
Yeah,
transitioning.
Back, yeah.
Because I saw Mark and I saw Chad, but I didn't see their physical body. I saw their energy. And I could see Mark's skeleton. And I could see your skeleton.
Wow, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Because you had no flesh.
Wow.
And it was still in spiritual realm. That's why I was still freaked out. And
I don't have a soul either.
I remember I looked at Mark and I said, look, man, I was freaking out because I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. And Mark grabbed me and goes, yeah, Vince, it's cool. It's Mark, man. I know you're a good person.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's when I realized the universe showed me what I needed to see.
Yeah.
You know, that all we are is energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I created my own reality.
That's
I created my own consciousness.
Yeah.
And from that day forth, I think that's when I started shifting my energy.
100% you did, bro.
Transmuting. And I realized, there's a lot of things in life that we hold on to.
Yeah.
And we don't even know it, that we're creating our own reality. We're molding our energy and our consciousness.
Their weight's holding us down.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because all this is temporary.
It is it's an experience, man.
And as I've gone, after that day, it's crazy because like Mark and Chad were like, yo, it's like we were watching an exorcism.
Dude, for
they
real.
said
that
it's
was
like
a
you were
straight up exorcism, bro.
It's like you were screaming, you were speaking in tongues. I don't know what it was. And I was like,
crazy, dude.
And I knew then, like, and for months at a time, for weeks, I was trying to figure out, okay, I carried all this negativity. How can I transmute this energy? Because I started to learn. At first, I felt like, maybe I was just. Maybe I created my own darkness and my demons, and that's what it was. So from then on, I just started working on myself, learning that I needed to nurture my energy, my soul. I started reading a bunch of books, started doing, Kundalini yoga, and I started even working with different shamans. I've done other plant medicine ceremonies from San Pedro, ayahuasca, shrooms,
Ayahuasca's bomb, huh?
combo. Yeah, you know what's crazy about it? At first, I didn't want to do ayahuasca because the DMT experience was so terrifying.
I bet, dude.
It was so terrifying.
I'm never gonna do that shit again, man. Oh, you
Yeah.
took the most acid I ever seen anybody take, man.
It was the most terrifying thing that I've experienced in my life. Because I thought I was stuck in that realm, and I didn't want that for myself. I didn't want that reality, never to go back there. So I said, how can I change and shift my energy? How can I transmute?
See, luckily I had seen some shit like that before because it didn't freak me out that bad.
So now,
except that I thought the cops were gonna
after,
come, bro.
after I was in a good headspace and spiritual, energetic space, I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to work on visiting that realm in a better space now.
There you go.
So then I started doing shroom ceremonies with a shaman from Mexico, right? Started doing that, and I've entered that realm again. I've actually
They're sister plants.
yeah, for like, you know what? Because these plant medicines are so intelligent.
Yeah, people think we're joking, man. This shit's
no,
real,
it's
dude.
energy, and then it triggers like some sort of conscious awakening,
Yeah.
and healing. It shows you the matrix that we're living in the simulation.
We're supposed to be part of this. They shut us off from it so we don't experience that.
Right, and then so now when you see this, when you see reality from a different standpoint, from a different, okay, cool. What I'm living right now is that it's like we're avatars.
Yeah.
And our true self, our true nature, is infinite awareness that exists. I don't know. It's just I don't know if it's going over my followers' heads, but basically to make it, I'm trying to simplify it to where it's like when your consciousness leaves your body, you see your true nature. You know what I'm saying? That we're all spiritual energy beings.
Well, we've been
having
taught
a human
how to put these
experience.
facades up, all these
Right.
walls, and act like something. Don't cry, don't be like this, don't be like that.
And then I started doing these ceremonies with shrooms, ayahuasca. I've seen people go through their own hells, like you just witnessed me. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow, darkness and demons exist. But it's people have created their own experiences and realities. Because we hold on to a lot of things.
We feed it. We allow it
feed
to live.
Yeah, and then we realize, you know what?
You gotta let it go.
It's nothing external. It's something
Yeah.
we create with our thoughts.
Dude, a lot of times bad things that happen end up being a good outcome. It's like we
Yeah.
thought this was this horrible thing, and it ends up being like a better situation because we just don't trust the plan. And I don't mean like Donald Trump's plan. I mean like trust the plan in the universe.
And
the
what's
universe has a
crazy
plan.
about it is like, Chad, as terrifying as it was, I love that it happened to me.
Yeah, exactly what I'm
You know
saying.
what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
if I've never gone through hell, I would have never searched for that light
Right.
that I needed in my life. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, we need that experience. Sometimes we need that in
Yeah.
order for us to transmute and to grow.
Right.
And it's crazy. It's like, and this journey has taken me more and more. Like, before it was like, it was just, I was so ego-centered. And like everything that mattered in my life is just, you know what? I just want to move on with my career, and that's it. But it was like when you realize that you're more than just this flesh and bones, and your consciousness and your energy affects other
yeah.
people.
It's just a meat suit here.
Yeah, and you realize and you're learning how energy works. I'm like, okay.
Ernie
come
got a
on.
good meat suit, by the way.
It's amazing, dude.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing to hear. Cause
Have you ever had any experience like that, Ernie?
yeah, I mean it's constantly like kind of happening. But when I had kidney failure, I might as well put this on. When I had kidney failure about 3 years ago, you look at that and it brings a lot of fear and it brings a lot of worry to
A lot of opportunity to give up.
and for yourself and for the people around you.
Yeah.
Right. And but for me, when you realize your mortality, when you know for sure that you're gonna die, because we teach our kids, we don't teach our kids that that's the process of life.
Right.
It's being born. It's living your journey.
Yeah.
Creating something to be left behind, and then you die.
Yeah.
That is part of it.
Well, your meat suit dies. I think you go on.
Well,
Our
whatever.
spirit lives,
There's a finite experience
Yep.
here in this lifetime.
Make the
right?
most of it.
And having to go to dialysis 3 times a week, I have a constant reminder because it's so easy
Sure.
to get caught up in the day-to-day bullshit of life,
Yeah.
right? And be worrying about things that don't really matter.
Yeah.
But when you really begin to understand that you have an expiration date,
Yeah.
and that's a very real thing,
Yeah.
there's a tremendous amount of freedom that comes with that.
Sure. Yeah. You don't fear death anymore, bro. You just know it's part of it. It's okay. That's the key.
And that to me is like where the beginning of kind of my awakening has happened, was when that happened. When I realized, wow, I'm on the brink of death. And then when you come back from that, you go, well, what am I going to live my life for?
Make the most.
You know, for me, it's about my family. You know, it's all about the family first, you know, and then inspiring and uplifting people, you know, by the pathway that you choose to walk. And for me, that's about living, a life as an artist and having a sense of artistic freedom. But that's amazing what you're saying, because it does come down to transition,
Yeah.
right? And at this moment in life, it's another transition. And that when you are on that brink, that is like a major point of reality.
Yep.
You know, because we get caught up in bullshit that doesn't mean anything
Yeah.
until real shit happens.
The real shit happens. That's
You know,
right.
Real shit happens, and the whole story changes.
New perspective.
Crazy. That like it takes, you know, because not everybody, you don't have to smoke DMT to come to realizations, you know, because we naturally, our body, our pineal gland naturally produces DMT.
And
When we're
Wim
born,
Hof,
when we
Wim Hof
sleep
can
at
teach
night,
you how to do it
and
naturally.
before, you know what I'm saying, before, you know, we have near-death experiences as well. But like what Ernie was saying, sometimes we forget to appreciate the simple things because we get so caught up in bullshit that our brain is like, you know, is a constant barrage of information and frequency that we forget to enjoy our experience. You know, this
It's
is a
intentionally
blessing.
happening.
Us to be able to breathe and have these moments with our loved ones, our family, those simple things that like I value now.
I think the meat suit's here so we can have a spiritual growth experience when we're here on this planet.
Right.
It's not about chasing a paycheck. It's about what you're going to do when you're here. What are you going to do when you're here? Is it about you, or is it about your fellow man? And so what you do here, in any religion, any belief is the same thing. It's all about, you know, what you do here, there'll be consequences for or rewards after. Everything says that. And so I believe that our souls are moving on. It's just kind of like a escalator. You know, you come down, you get in this meat suit, and then you leave the meat suit one day and you come back, or maybe you're a tree next time. I don't know what happens next, but I know it's something. And so it's all about making this a positive experience and growing, you know.